Hey Ada, we have all these new things happening in Melee, all these events that we have been, well, we have obviously had Battle of BC 4, we have had Pound, we've had Genesis 8, but in the summer of Melee, when you're in between two big weekends like right now, coming off of CEO 2022, about to go into Get On My Level, aka GOML 2022, it is the right time to be a Melee fan. So first of all, Hada, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Pretty solid week of work. Finished my first pay period on my new job. Playing a lot of volleyball. Started my first volleyball league. Won my first match 3-0. So feeling
Let's go.
at batting 1,000 per se. So to be completely honest, my team is way too good. We should be playing in the higher division, but we're not. But we honestly didn't know where to put ourselves. But I digress. I'm having a great time. It's a good time to be around right now, and I'm happy to be recording the podcast. Welcome back. I feel so welcome and happy to be here.
And so when we see a few people drop out of CEO 2022 in advance of the event happening itself, we go, oh, that's really sad. But then it starts to draw a pretty clear line of contenders who are probably going to win the event. However, one of those possible winners of the event ended up placing fifth, and that would be Hungrybox, kind of having the Florida version of what IBDW had at the Function 2, where it was an underwhelming performance in IBDW's own region of New York for the Function 2 earlier this year. And now Hungrybox is kind of turning in a similar performance where really going into it, you would say Plup is the other favorite to win this event because Plup is a very, very good player, obviously. And so Hungrybox has a chance to say, hey, I got my region. I also am not being thwarted by a possible Zane or a possible Leffen IBDW. So I could take this event. But Hungrybox lost the losers quarters match to Plup, who also went to losers early, courtesy of a great Magi run to all the way to grand finals. It just didn't turn out that way because in grand finals you have a 6-0 in Plup's favor to take the whole event, which is sad for all the Magi fans out there. But when Hungrybox and Plup went to losers early, it was pandemonium all over again. And so it was a crazy event in that sense that the two favorite players to win are now going to play for either moving on in losers or they're going to be finishing at fifth. And that's what Hungrybox ended up having to do in game 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, HBox uncharacteristic fifth place finish, and honestly sparked a lot of controversy, but can't give gotta give the credit to KJH for putting into losers to begin with. KJH proving that he could do it even online specifically, and had an amazing 15 game set, a 15 game set, quote unquote, but had 3 game 5 sets at the salt mine, and so exciting to see just absolutely monstrous high level gameplay. Sorry, my eyes hurt.
No, that's okay. It's all good. Are these new or do you normally wear contacts?
They're new. They're like readers and they do blue light. So they help me like with the little stuff. But yeah, I've been getting a lot of migraines recently, so I had to get some more readers. But yeah, it's a new addition. I wear them at work all the time. So but yeah, so KJH making a run, upsetting HBox. And then Plup, of course, getting upset by Magi and winners. Yeah, and what's more cool is the parallels that we got to see drawn through CEO as well as the Plup Showdown Gauntlet style tournament where KJH and Magi had a game 7 best of 4 situation in their show match, and then of course Plup having a really dominant performance against his 3 opponents. Specifically dominant against M2K and HBox, but then going down 3-1 and then getting the reverse sweep to win in game 9 against IBDW was absolutely spectacular. Plup, and definitely showed that Plup was playing in top form, and definitely was not shocked to see him go 14-0 in the losers bracket, 14 games straight to go ahead and take the whole event. So big ups to Plup, man. Plup played amazing.
And it just sets the stage for a bigger event that is going to have much more of top player turnout for GOML 2022. And I'm really excited to see the next chapter of the top player storylines, because this is the, I would say, the real sequel to Battle BC4, where we saw the last top player heavy top 8 bracket. So just looking at the projected seeds for the tournament, for top 16 alone, we already have great players in Zane and Moki, Amsa, Jmook, IBDW, Mango, Hungerbox, and None, just in the winner's side of top 16. Okay, I gave you 8 great players just right off the bat, but also in the loser side of projected top 16, you have players like Professor Pro from the UK, Wizrobe, Zuppy, S2J, Joshman, Ginger, Two Saint, and Soonsay. And I wish we could just go down and talk about all the exciting stuff that's projected to happen in top 64, except they made the mistake of having 4 bracket pages for top 64. Really? 4? Sorry, that's I need to get off my high horse. Just why? So you have all these amazing players that are going to be there, just besides the 16 that I already mentioned. And I was hearing something about a DQ from Wizzy, but I don't actually know that for a fact. So maybe I should look it up on Twitter or something. But for you, Hada, who are some names who you are excited to see possibly make top 8? And then we could talk about who are the potential winners of this whole bracket.
Right. I mean, you can't go too far without mentioning especially the new Canadian resident Amsa. Amsa now in the unique position to, make competing and make Melee his absolute 100% full-time career. I know he was working a 9 to 5 while he was competing from Japan. So being able to see him come to North America and have the opportunity to make competing and streaming and content creation his 100% full-time gig is something that's really exciting. Can't ignore Jmook either. Jmook has had very characteristically high placements. Hasn't dropped a set to, I believe, anyone lower than that Kadoran Laud sort of quality of player. So Jmook is an extraordinarily exciting player to look out for. You have a lot of these top 8 caliber players that could sneak in from that top 16 tier of players. So someone that I'm actually looking forward to, and a little bit of bias, but BBAT's making his first international debut at GOML. And BBAT's has been doing nothing but getting top 2 placings at all of his locals, all of his regionals, all of his monthlies, and I think is in a really good position if all the conditions are met to make a really, really deep run. Top 8, maybe not, but definitely could pose some really serious upset potential. So, especially coming off of difficult matchups like 6-0ing Two Saint at Creed specifically. So that he's not just getting some bracket luck. He's not just getting his favorable matchups. He's flexible and able to swing for the fences. So really excited for Billy to make a run this weekend.
I would love to see that as well. We all want to see a Beast Bats run on especially for you, Hada. I know it's the all chat connection. Speaking of, no salt mine tonight. It was a little sad to find that out today. Yeah. Is it mostly because of just GOML and the sheer amount of players who are already gathering in Toronto? Yeah. That makes sense.
It's there's a lot of players going out to GOML. There's also a lot of administrative moves going on up and around in the all chat chambers. So a lot of moving parts. We got a lot of exciting announcements coming in the next couple weeks. So a lot of potential, not a lot of things that are super, super ironed out yet. But I think that given the right circumstances, I think all chat's going to be making some big moves this summer. But yeah, it's super exciting, and lots of love to BBATs, lots of love to the all chat team. Sometimes it's okay to take a break every once in a while and allow us to recenter ourselves. But what was funny is the second we announced that we weren't going to have the tournament, Hungry Box slid into Slum's DMs and was like, "Yo, no tournament this week? What the heck?" And we're like, "Hey, dude, we're always like DMing HBox, like, dude, into the salt mine this week." And all of a sudden, the second we don't give him what he wants, suddenly he's reaching out like, "Yo, what about my salt mine run, dude? What about the
Where
salt
I need
mine?
my fix. I need my salt."
That's it.
That's how you know you made it.
Exciting, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I like I've been saying to the people out there, I'm looking around. I'm seeing some other people running their light versions of their bracket. And I'm going, well, the salt mine is kind of now the premier Melee online weekly. That's what I'm saying. Pulling out the top players. So it's very, very cool. Hopefully the administrative stuff and all the behind the scenes stuff we'll be able to come out at the other end with super exciting events. Also, and I have to say, all these big events that are happening on the weekend, it does sort of make everybody go, "Oh yeah, online's cool." Yeah. They're not quite as excited, I guess, if you have in-person events to look forward to. But there are schmucks like me and you, Hada, because I don't think you're going to GOML either, who can't go. And I'm sad. You're sad. We wish we could go, obviously. True. I want to go to all these events, but I like very, very realistically cannot. So I will instead talk about it and yammer on about it. How about this top 8, though? The possibility of seeing Zayn versus IBDW in grand finals, if they, as the top 1 seed and top 2 seed, get to grand finals, that would be certainly be an amazing. It's breakfast. Yes.
Breakfast cam.
Yes. Let's go, breakfast. Let's go. Oh my gosh.
Chilling. Yes, that's my work shirt. It's funny. The second I take off my clothes from work, she decides like that smells like something that's not me. So let's go ahead and fix that. Let me see if I can get a more centered view.
Oh, so cute. So there's like this interesting little fun fact about cats. If you have an indoor cat that somehow gets outside, you take off the shirt you're wearing, turn it inside out, lay it on the front porch, and they'll show up because they just are attracted to your smell.
Interesting. So I'll have to let Ellen know that. So Ellen, did you know that if breakfast were to get out, all I would have to do is take the shirt off that I was wearing, turn it inside out, and put it at the front door, and she'll come back. Yeah, that's apparently how it works. All right, so we got breakfast cam. So
breakfast cam.
Looking, GOML looks great. CEO and of course Plup Showdown was amazing. We've got a lot of cool stuff happening in Melee right now. It's an exciting time, and I think Summer of Smash it really feels like Summer of Smash is back, and it's just a good time to be a Melee fan.
Great time to be a Melee fan. So you have some potential fun matches with maybe Hungrybox versus Amsa on the losers side again. Jmook trying to stay alive, but then having to fight against Smokey. Those are some projected matches. But if Wizzy is actually going to be playing Wizrobe, that would be so cool because this will be the first event back in a while because Wizrobe has had health issues, and so we're talking about someone who is very easily a top 10 threat, not actually having played in any of the events so far in 2022, had to miss out on Genesis 8 and on. So I'm really excited to see how Wizrobe does in particular, if in fact he is actually playing. And I'm also looking at the Canadian side of all of this, since we're playing up in Toronto for GOML. I'm thinking about who's going to take the quote-unquote Canadian crown, who will be the furthest Canadian player in bracket. And Moki, Sunsei, and None are great candidates for that. I'd say it has to be Moki, but there does seem to be this feeling of up and down performances from Moki, not maybe necessarily up to the standard that he wants it to be for himself. And I think most of us, when you watch Moki clips on Twitter, we know how amazing that fox is. So that would be a safe pick, if you will, the highest projected Canadian player to go in the wait, hold on. I say that, but None is actually projected to beat Mango, and Mango finishes at 7th in the Star GG bracket. That'd be wild. That would be wild. And to None's credit, None finished at 4th at Genesis 8. And Moki hasn't had a performance like that just yet. Finished 2nd to Ginger, if I recall correctly, at the Function 2, things like that. Yes, but I'm hoping to see a little bit of representation, because CEO had the Florida players all coming out, Wevins and Hungrybox and Panda. So you have so many players from the local area placing top 8. That's really cool at CEO. It'd be cool to see a non-Sunsei, None, and Moki Canadian player perhaps place top 8. I feel like that's a lot less likely, because I couldn't tell you who that fourth player would be, and they would have to take the place of a Mango or a Jmook. But of course, the Jmook storyline also we haven't seen since Battle of BC4. So will there be a potential top 3 placing for Jmook, who definitely wants to prove, like all these other events that he has been so far this year, I belong in the top 5. I can place top 3 at these stacked events. So that's why GOML is going to be really exciting to watch. I will say though, who I want to win, who I'm projecting to win, is Zayn, because I want to see Zayn wiping away all of the all of the chaotic melee. That's what Samox called it the other night when we were talking for the podcast interview, which you can check out, by the way, at some point in the near future. It hasn't come out yet, but this whole idea that despite all of the craziness, all the upset potential, how good all these players are getting, Hada, including you are doing some crazy stuff that 5 years ago people would have said, what? Not even Armada does that. So I like this idea of Zayn saying, even still, even with all of this extra stuff and all of these Sheik players who came out of nowhere, I can win an event like this. So that's who I'm hoping to win this, who I want to see win. I want to see Zayn win this event. And probably the most likely scenario is Zayn winning from winners, in that, just get there, finish it off nice and easy, except it's not easy to finish at first place at any big melee event, but that's what I'm sort of seeing. But I will turn it to you, Hada. Who do you have for this event?
Man, GOML's going to be an exciting one. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's really the Sheik resurgence of melee, and the Sheik resurgence era in the melee timeline, and that's really exciting. You love to see players like Jmook rise and rise quickly. Players like J Flex, another J Sheik, really riding the ranks and could even make a top 30 debut here on the top 100 rank. And it's an exciting time to see more development in the metagame. And it's really up to our top level competitors like Mango, like Zayn, like Hungrybox to see this new blood, this new fresh outlook and perspective on the top level of Melee's metagame, and how can we counteract that? How can we pivot around all these different adaptations, all these different developments in order to remain at the top and to remain the top level competitors that we are. And I think Zayn's definitely a favorite. I think Mango's due, but I think Mango's time will come at Double Down, or at least I think that would be really topical if it came at Double Down.
That'd be
Um,
awesome.
we haven't seen a Wizzy or a non-performance in that long. Non made an amazing performance in top 4 placement at Genesis. So huge ups to my main man Ed. But I'd love to see another big top 8 performance from the big man at Golden Guardians. So love to see 2 Golden Guardians members in the top 8. That'd be great. Of course, Mango, Hungrybox, Jmook. So I think Hungrybox says 5. Amsa.
Yes.
I would love to see a Moki.
Mm-hmm.
And give me one wild card. Let me just think. You give me a B-Bats. Let's see B-Bats in top 8. Let's see some Peach representation in top 8. Why not? Let's see a loser side top 8 B-Bats. Let's go.
Yes. I want to see I would love to see that as well. Let's see, a wild card here. I will humor whoever decision making this was to have 4 different pages for top 64. Let's just go into one of these. Who's supposed to? Oh wow! Look, Ben is actually registered to play at GOML and is supposed to barely miss out on top 16, losing to S2J, which, I mean, fair. S2J, great player, placing top 2, top 1 at the West Coast locals. So I'm not saying that Ben is like supposed to win this by any stretch of the imagination. If that's what happens in losers, if S2J and Ben meet, it is going to be an interesting matchup. But I think Ben is another great player who has proven that the Midwest sort of belongs in a lot of ways. The Midwest is mine, Ben says. And if that were to be another player to break into top 16 and then possibly make it all the way to top 8, that would be super cool to see, especially since Ben, most of his breakouts have happened on the online side of things. Now, winning stuff like Hold That L, a really, really big Chicago Melee event recently, after winning that, hey, I'm the player to watch out for in the Midwest. In Ginger's absence, I want to see Ginger versus Ben again at some point. Maybe it'll happen at GOML, but I'd like the idea of seeing how deep of a run Ben can go on, especially with the J Sheiks powering up all the other Sheiks, powering each other up. That'd be fun to see. And so that's enough about GOML. Let's see what else has been happening in Melee. I will turn it over to you, Hada, see if there was something on your mind before we start to wrap up here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and give a quick little Twitter scroll. I love to go through my likes in times like this just to see what's my favorite little Melee anecdote that's popped out in very recent memory. Uh, let's see. we have the Tri-State Arcadian coming up. I see Turn Down for Walt already registered. So our favorite content creating Mario main will be coming out for the Tri-State Arcadian. So that's really, really exciting. Big House, giving a big shout out to the CEO champion in Plup. Josh Man, I believe, making his last NA stomp around. I think he's going back to Australia for Phantom as well as to hang out for a little bit before he comes back to for another round of NA events. So, oh, final thing I want to bring up. This is definitely I made a note of this, but I forgot it. It's on my floor. But I want to give a huge shout out to the homie PGH Carroll getting engaged this past week. So finally proposing to his missus. And big man's getting married. One of the combo geniuses of Melee had an awesome engagement this past week. So huge congratulations to Carol.
Oh, yes, absolutely big congratulations. These are the things you love to see. Love wins. I love all that stuff. Let's go. I'm going to send you a tweet that I am so happy that I saw this while we were recording because this is very interesting to me. So we have a 10v10 crew battle, the world versus the USA for GOML 2022. Not only do we get to have a really cool bracket in the singles bracket, but who doesn't love a high profile crew battle? And so we have on the world side, we have Professor Pro, Zuppy, Frenzy, Joshman, Ryan Ford, Moki, The Swooper, None, AMSA, and Hungrybox versus USA, which is Toussaint, Ginger, Ben, Skurzo, KJH, IBDW, Lucky, S2J, Zane, and J-Mook. When is the last time we've had a crew battle that has this many high-profile players? That's going to be like, this is like going to be on a big stage. This has Zane, literally. Zane and IBDW. Now, of course, I don't see a Mango in here. SMH, but other than that, I think of just about everybody who you would want to see at this for like a USA versus the world crew battle is here, and this is so cool. So if you're looking at the tweet, Hada, sorry for those of you who are listening today, this is going to be tough. You're just going to have to pull up the tweet from at GOML's Plan on Twitter and check out the 10v10 poster and see all the players. But this is something that's going to be really interesting to watch. So without having any time to prep, who are you taking? Like, who's the gut instinct? I'm taking this team.
Oh, I'm looking at the matchups. I'm like trying to see. It's definitely exciting. So 40 stocks versus 40 stocks. I think it really leans onto the performances of some of our up and coming spacies and some of the spaces we haven't seen in a while. So do the likes of especially our UK residents, Frenzy and Prof Pro, match up well into players like Skurzo? Skurzo and is like the only up and comer from the USA. Like everyone else on the USA is like top 50, has been top 50, and if not, has been at that level. Ben, of course, I don't think has ever been ranked, but it's undoubtable that Ben has played and has been playing at that top 50, top 30s, maybe even top 20 level. And Skurzo definitely showing a lot of great performances. I'm taking the USA on this one just for especially that top heavy performances from players like Zane, J-Mook, IBDW, and of course, S2J, Lucky, KJH, bringing up the rear and second best Falco in the world. I wouldn't deny it in Ginger, looking like a really solid performance, but you can't ignore performances like the Swooper taking a set over IBW at Nightclub. We have Joshman bringing up a lot of solid performances from this past summit performances, as well as gotten a huge level up since he's been in the United States for so long. None, of course, top 4 at Genesis. Moki, insane function 2 run. AMSA has beaten just about every single player in the world at least once. And of course, Hungrybox, 3-time best player in the world. And especially with a bench like Ryan Ford, Zuppy, Frenzy, and Prof Pro to bring up the rear and to fill in those gaps, especially with just the variety of matchup coverage with all these species, it feels really good. It's going to be a competitive crew battle. I think I give the nod to the United States, especially because the world doesn't have a Marth, man. They don't have a Pete. They don't have a Marth. They don't have a Puff. Well, I'm sorry, they do have a Puff. They both have Puffs. They don't have a Marth. Marth's really important in crew battles because Spaceys are so dominant. So definitely Marth counter pick on FD is gonna be some Zane bread and butter. And then if you try to counter pick Zane with a Nun or an Amsa, you know Zane's beaten Nun and Amsa many times. It's hard to counterpick Zane here. I don't see anyone counterpicking Zane in this matchup. So we'll have to see how it bangs out, and I would love to watch it back and give a little reaction, give a little Coach Hada to see who I would send in. Well, I definitely will make a little content piece out of this crew battle. It'll be a good time.
Okay, I'd love to see that. I will probably not be making a content video piece about this, but what I will be doing is watching this very closely. I really hope I can actually see this and not be distracted with the other things of my life that I have to do on weekends and such. But in general, to the people of the world who don't celebrate the United States Independence Day, it's all good. To the fellow Americans who are listening to the podcast, happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July. I will be very much paying attention to Melee. So let's go Melee. For my pick for this 10v10 crew battle, I have to agree with you, Hada. Here's the thing, right? You want to have great variety. You want to have great, strong players. But as per usual, the exponential higher ceiling that players like Zane, Jmook, and IBDW give you, you could put... how do I put this? You could put lower ranked players with Zane, Jmook, and IBDW in a 10v10 versus the world, and I will say it. They could still win. Like, if you swap out a few lower ranked players in and replace a KGH or a Toussaint or a Lucky, I'm just saying... Zane, IBDW, Jmook is a great top 3 players of your 10v10 crew. So this does seem to be USA favored. I think there are things that have to go right for Team World, and you have to get an insane crew battle performance from Nun, who has done it before, by the way. There have been some online crew battles. There's one in particular that I vaguely recall where Nun took, I want to say it was like 12 stocks, maybe took out like 3 players all by himself. So like if Nun could do something like that, it'd be like Isaiah level, where it's like, it was just awesome to see Isaiah, plow his way through the entire East Coast. Like it would have to be on that level, I think, for someone to come up really strong in Team World in this Team World versus Team USA crew battle. So I will, of course, be happy to see either team win, because you have the upset potential underdog in my mind of Team World, but then of course Team USA as a US person, USA. But I'm really excited to see this. I'm so happy I saw this tweet. Otherwise, we would have not gotten to talk about crews, because how often do we get to see a crew battle like this, Hada? I'm just saying, if you didn't have something like this talked about in our warm up podcast for GOML, I would be so sad. So let's just go ahead and cap it there. Hada, thank you so much for joining me again. And after a day of probably being a little bit on the tired side, a little bit on the screen heavy side, I appreciate you putting in the time to continue to talk about Melee with me, and I hope that you have a lovely holiday weekend. I hope that you get to see some of this exciting stuff happening this weekend at GOML. Otherwise, please take us home.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me again. I love coming on the podcast every week. I'm just gonna center it just for this one. Just talking to me. We're not talking to the cat. But yeah, I got some exciting plans. I'm actually going to an AVP event, which if you guys remember the podcast episode with Battery specifically, AVP is a professional sand volleyball, and
oh, nice,
three-time Olympian and 102 tournament victories on his record, Phil Dahlhauser is going to be in attendance here in Denver.
Wow.
The tournament is taking place 4 minutes from my house at a awesome place called the Island here in Denver. So I'm really excited to go ahead and see that and watch Olympic quality volleyball. It's going to be a great time. Yeah, I've just been working, playing volleyball, and this crew battle is so exciting. And so I'm going to get a lot of rest and enjoy my weekend. And guys, please stay safe, stay off the roads late at night. People are going to be driving around being crazy. And but still have a great time. Say hi to your family. Enjoy the fireworks if you have it around you. But other than that, guys, love to be here. Watch GOML. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you next week.
Yep, you can catch it all on VG Boot Camp, by the way, on Twitch. But yes, we'll see y'all next week.